The morning sun cast long shadows across Sam's Gas and Go, a small gas station in the quiet town of Maplewood. 9-year-old Lily Carter carefully counted quarters from her unicorn-shaped purse. Her loyal German shepherd, Buddy, sat alertly beside her, his amber eyes never leaving his young owner. The peaceful moment was shattered as a thunderous roar of motorcycles filled the air. 15 bikers surrounded them, their bikes gleaming under the morning light. A large man with a scarred face, wearing a leather vest with snake design, stepped forward. His name was Viper, the leader of the Black Vipers motorcycle gang. Well, what do we have here? Viper sneered, his voice echoing across the parking lot. A little girl walking her puppy? Buddy's posture changed instantly. His ears perked up, muscles tense. He didn't bark or growl, but his stillness made several bikers step back. Viper grabbed Lily's arm with a bruising grip. "In this town, little girls pay a toll," he said with a cruel smile. What happened next seemed to unfold in slow motion. Lily didn't scream or struggle. Instead, she made a subtle gesture with her free hand. 3 fingers extended, then curled inward. Buddy's transformation was immediate and terrifying. The German shepherd didn't lunge or attack. He went completely still, his eyes locked on Viper with a predatory focus that sent chills down the biker's spine. "Control your mutt, kid," Viper said, his voice wavering. "He's not a mutt," Lily replied, her voice steady despite the fear in her eyes. "And he's not the one you should be worried about." As Lily reached for her phone, something in Viper's expression shifted from arrogance to uncertainty. What he didn't know was that this encounter with a small girl and her dog would ignite a conflict that would change Maplewood forever and reveal secrets buried since the battlefields of Iraq. Lily Carter wasn't your typical 9-year-old, diagnosed with mild autism at age 4. She found comfort in clear patterns and understood animals better than people. Her coppery red hair framed a face dotted with freckles, and behind her glasses, her deep green eyes observed the world with extraordinary focus. Since her mother's death 2 years ago, Lily had found her voice through Buddy, her German shepherd, who served as both her therapy dog and protector. Their bond was extraordinary. Buddy had been specially trained by Lily's mother, Sarah Carter, who was once the Army's most respected canine handler before cancer took her too soon. Lily's father, Captain Jack Carter, was a veteran who had earned the nickname Iron Jack after surviving an IED explosion in Iraq that killed 3 of his men. The physical scars had healed, but the psychological wounds remained. Raising a special needs daughter alone was a daily challenge. Jack was also the leader of the Veterans Guard, a motorcycle club made up entirely of combat veterans. They weren't outlaws. Most held regular jobs as mechanics, teachers, or business owners. Their military precision and brotherhood remained intact, and it gathered weekly at the old VFW hall. The Black Vipers had rolled into Maplewood 6 months ago, establishing their clubhouse in an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Viper ruled through intimidation, but few knew the personal vendetta driving him. His younger brother, Ethan, had returned from war paralyzed from the waist down. Government benefits barely covered his basic care, and Viper blamed the military for abandoning his brother. His gang began pressuring local businesses for protection money, focusing especially on veteran-owned establishments. Every Tuesday morning, Lily followed the same routine. Her father would drop her off at Maggie's diner, where she'd have pancakes with her godmother, Maggie. Then, she'd walk 3 blocks to Sam's Gas and Go with Buddy to buy her weekly comic book before heading to her therapy session. The predictability comforted Lily in a world that had become increasingly chaotic. But this Tuesday was different. As Lily and Buddy entered the gas station, the Black Vipers arrived, their motorcycles roaring like a swarm. The attendant, Jimmy, paled. "Not again," he muttered, reaching for his phone. "3rd time this week." Buddy immediately positioned himself between Lily and the door, his behavior shifting from companion to guardian without a command. Lily felt her heart race but focused on her breathing techniques, just as her therapist had taught her. Viper entered the store, flanked by 2 other bikers. "Well, if it isn't Jimmy Boy," Viper sneered, slapping the counter. "We're here to discuss your contribution to local business development." Jimmy swallowed hard. "I told you yesterday, I don't own this place." Mr. Sam will be back tomorrow. You need to talk to him. Viper's voice dropped to a menacing growl. That's not how this works. Every business contributes. Not tomorrow, today. Lily stood frozen by the comic book rack, her fingers gripping Buddy's harness. She tried to make herself invisible, but one of the bikers, Diesel, noticed her immediately. You got a customer, Jimmy, he said, his tone calm but unsettling. Viper turned, noticing Lily and Buddy for the first time. His expression shifted from intimidation to malice. Military dog, he spat, recognizing Buddy's harness. Let me guess. Daddy's a soldier? Lily didn't answer, but her chin lifted slightly, mirroring her father's defiance. Viper moved closer, looming over her. I asked you a question, kid. Your daddy plays soldier? Captain, Lily corrected reflexively, immediately regretting it as Viper's face darkened. Captain, huh? Well, ain't that special? Viper sneered. He circled Lily and Buddy, the German shepherd turning to maintain position between the threat and his charge. Military types think they're better than everyone else, better than guys like us. Leave her alone. Jimmy called, his voice cracking. She's just a kid. Just teaching a life lesson, Jimmy boy, Viper said. He grabbed Lily's backpack, yanking it from her shoulders and tossing its contents across the floor. Comic books, therapy workbooks, and a framed photo of Lily's mother in military uniform shattered on the linoleum. Something changed in Lily's expression as she stared at her mother's broken picture. Her hands trembled, but not from fear. She made the same subtle gesture, 3 fingers extended, then curled inward. Buddy didn't lunge or bark. Instead, he went completely still, a control weapon awaiting deployment. Viper sensed a shift in the dog's demeanor and took an involuntary step back. Control your dog, kid, he warned, his bravado wavering, before something bad happens to it. Lily's voice was steady. His name is Buddy. He was my mom's military working dog in Iraq. He found 37 IEDs and saved 114 soldiers. The specificity of the numbers landed with surprising impact. Even Viper seemed momentarily disarmed. Diesel's eyes narrowed with professional interest. Military working dog? What unit? Before Lily could answer, Viper grabbed her arm, his patience evaporating. I don't care if this much saved the president. In this town, everyone shows respect. Buddy didn't move, but a low, primal sound emerged from deep in his chest. Jimmy frantically dialed his phone. The police won't get here for at least 15 minutes, Viper said with a cruel smile. Plenty of time for us to finish our conversation. Lily didn't struggle. Instead, she reached into her pocket with her free hand and withdrew her phone. I'm not calling the police, she said quietly. Who then? Your daddy, Viper mocked. But something in Lily's calm frightened him more than tears would have. You know what my mom taught me before she died? Lily asked, her finger hovering over the speed dial. She said real courage isn't about being the strongest or the scariest. It's about knowing when to ask for help. The phone connected, and Lily spoke 6 words that would change Maplewood forever. Dad, we need the Veterans Guard. Now. The sound came first, a distant rumble that grew steadily louder until it filled the gas station. Dozens of motorcycles, their engines synchronized with military precision, arrived. The Veterans Guard had come. Viper released Lily's arm, shoving her backward as he moved toward the door. Buddy immediately repositioned himself beside her, his training preventing him from attacking without command. Through the large front windows, they watched as the Veterans Guard formed a perfect perimeter around the gas station. Captain Jack Carter, Iron Jack, dismounted first, removing his helmet to reveal silver-streaked dark hair and a face weathered by sun and experience. His leather vest bore no ostentatious patches, just a simple American flag and his unit insignia. The other riders followed his lead, creating a wall of veterans representing every branch of service and multiple conflicts. They didn't rush or shout. Their discipline was more intimidating than any display of aggression. This was a mistake, one of the bikers muttered to Viper, eyeing the veterans uneasily. There's at least 30 of them, another corrected quietly. All combat veterans. Iron Jack entered the gas station alone, his eyes immediately finding Lily. "You okay, kiddo?" he asked, his voice deliberately calm. Lily nodded once, her composure remarkable for a child her age. "They broke Mom's picture," she said, pointing to the shattered frame. Something dangerous flashed in Jack's eyes as he turned his attention to Viper. The two men assessed each other like alpha predators, neither willing to show weakness by looking away first. "Your daughter needs to learn respect," Viper said, attempting to maintain his bravado despite being severely outnumbered. "Seems to me," Jack replied with deceptive mildness, "that you're confusing respect with fear, a mistake among men who've never earned the former." The gas station had become a theater of tension. Outside, the Veterans Guard maintained their positions, patient and unwavering. "We done here?" Diesel asked quietly, a note of pragmatism in his voice. "We're outnumbered and outpositioned." Viper's face twisted with humiliation and rage, but even he couldn't ignore the tactical reality. "This isn't over," he promised, his gaze shifting between Jack and Lily. "Not by a long shot." "For today it is," Jack replied evenly. "My daughter and I are going home. I suggest you and your boys do the same." The Black Vipers retreated with as much dignity as they could muster, their motorcycles roaring to life as they peeled out of the parking lot. Only after they had disappeared did Jack kneel to Lily's level, his composure giving way to concern. "I'm so sorry, sweetheart," he said, carefully gathering the broken pieces of Sarah's photograph. "We'll get this fixed, good as new." News of the confrontation spread quickly through Maplewood. At Maggie's diner, opinions divided the lunch crowd. "The Veterans Guard showed them who's boss," declared Tom, the hardware store owner. "About time someone stood up to those thugs." "And what happens when the Veterans Guard isn't around?" countered Sarah, the elementary school principal. "You think those bikers are just going to slink away? They'll be back, and they'll be angry." Sheriff Roberts, a Vietnam veteran with 30 years in law enforcement, recognized an escalating situation when he saw one. "Jack," he said when Iron Jack entered with Lily and Buddy, "we need to talk." In the sheriff's office, Roberts closed the door, offering Lily a lollipop before addressing her father. "This is going to get worse before it gets better," he said without preamble. "I've got 2 deputies for the entire county. The state police are stretched thin. I can't provide round-the-clock protection for every business in town." Jack nodded, unsurprised. "We're not asking you to, Bill. The Veterans Guard can handle security." "Vigilante justice isn't the answer," Roberts warned. "These Black Vipers, they're not just local troublemakers. They've got connections to larger organizations. They've been establishing trafficking routes through 3 counties. All the more reason to stand against them now," Jack argued, "before they sink their roots deeper." Meanwhile, at the abandoned warehouse that served as the Black Vipers' clubhouse, Viper paced furiously, hurling empty bottles against the wall. "One phone call," he seethed. "One phone call, and those military is being assembled like they were still in uniform. Who does that self-righteous captain think he is?" Diesel watched from the corner, his expression thoughtful. "They're organized," he observed. "Disciplined. This isn't going to be like intimidating business owners or scaring teenagers." "I don't care if they're Navy SEALs," Viper snapped. "This is our territory now. And that little girl, she's the key, the captain's weak spot." "The girl has a military dog," Diesel pointed out, a note of professional respect in his voice. "That's not a pet. It's a weapon with teeth." Viper's smile was ugly with malice. "Then we'll have to neutralize it, won't we? Make some calls. I want every Black Viper within 100 miles in Maplewood by tomorrow. It's time this town learned what happens when people don't show proper respect." As night fell over Maplewood, both sides prepared for a conflict that would test not just their strength but the very soul of the community. And at the center of it all was a 9-year-old girl who understood more about courage and loyalty than most adults would learn in a lifetime. Moral lesson: this story reminds us that true courage isn't about strength or intimidation. It's about knowing when to ask for help and standing up for what's right, even when it's hard. Misunderstandings and anger can lead to conflict, but understanding and compassion can heal even the deepest wounds. Like Lily and Buddy, we all have the power to make a difference, no matter how small we may seem. Sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is show kindness and seek peace, even in the face of hatred.